Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Vancouver. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Brian David Marshall. We're in the last round of Swiss here. This is potentially a top 8 deciding match. It might not be, it might be, and it really all weighs on Huey Jensen.
Right.
Because he's the only one who's really live here for top 8, right?
John Stern unpacks a rat on turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to get a chance to go to work with that here if he wants.
That's right.
Just gets in for one. It looks like maybe a Underworld Connections here. Yeah.
It is. So a really nice start.
Syncopated.
Syncopate from Huey Jensen, though. So no really nice start for you, John Stern. Pack Rat.
He still has a Pack Rat.
He does. Unfortunately, his opponent, Huey, has so many ways to deal with Pack Rat. He's got 8 in the main deck.
Right. And he can just gain so much life over the course of a game to buy that time to get to his Supreme Verdicts. And
that's right. All right, well, here we go. Another Underworld Connections for John Stern.
This one resolves.
So draw a card for Huey Jensen on end step, go to his draw step, but that Underworld Connections could fuel a fire that William cannot put out. We'll have to see here, though. Nope, it's not going to this time. Detention Sphere.
What will Detention Sphere hit? Is it going to hit the Underworld Connections?
Yeah,
yes,
it does indeed. John Stern, of course, gets one card off of it in response, but wasn't exactly the long-term plan that he was hoping. You saw that Huey took the time to play that Elixir of Immortality. Make sure that gets out of his
hand.
Just
gotta. You cannot. You really don't like to pass the turn with that card in your hand.
No, they're like Thoughtseize. Like,
oh no!
Yeah, you do need to get that card on the battlefield. John has no way to interact with it once it's on the battlefield, so it's there to stay.
So Thoughtseize sees Dissolve, Azorius Charm, another Dissolve, and Jace, Architect of Thought.
Right.
Which is, I assume, what he'll take here.
Probably. I've seen a lot of the mono black players take the permission spells.
Sure, but with
from
2 of them, it's tough, right?
It is less good.
Sorry.
Let's see what John Stern takes here. Jace, the most obviously powerful card, but it depends on what his hand is as well. I can't get a good look at it, so he's going to try to map out the next couple of turns and find out what he wants.
Hey guys, this is Randy reporting in from the field. Table 1 and 2 did draw, so it's clean, but Table 4 believes they have to play. Colin Miller and Peter Sundholm will be playing and also simultaneously rooting for John Stern. If Huey wins, he's in. If he loses, both Colin Miller and Peter Sundholm are in. So if he loses, you'll see them extend hands as quickly as they possibly can. But that's basically what's going on. So we've got a second crucial feature match. Huey's basically going to win and in. Miller and Sundholm will play win and in, where maybe they can back in with a draw, but only if Huey loses.
Great. Thanks, Randy.
It's going to be pretty tough to outweight Huey's deck here.
It is indeed. You're looking over at the table.
You want that match to resolve first.
Yeah. That's not going to happen very often here. So John Stern discarded a Night Veil Spectre to make a Pack Rat token. And Huey's passed the turn back.
I wish we weren't in this boat. It's his fault.
John did take the Jace.
Yeah.
He's got the board presence already that he wants. He's got Pack Rat, so he has the way to win the game. The question is just if Huey can find an answer for it. There are answers in his deck.
He's got Supreme Verdicts and he's got Detention Spheres.
That's right.
So here comes another rat. Discards Grey Merchant.
Discards Grey Merchant and another one.
Wow.
So he's moved in. He just says, look. I mean, is this the time when Huey's going to have to fire off that Revelation for 1?
Or do you Azorius Charm
or just
one of
Azorius
these?
Charm to draw a card?
Take
or Azorius
3
Charm
instead of taking 8?
Is there another one off camera too, or
I don't.
is it
I don't
just
know.
those 4? It must just be those 4, but
Yep.
he does, and that kills it. And he takes 3. Okay. Draws his card for the turn. It looks like it was a Jace. This is exactly where you don't want to be if you're in Huey's seat, right? He's holding a bunch of counter spells against a fully developed board.
This is what you get when you play blue-white.
It's true.
This is what you sign up for.
This is exactly what you sign up for. You are correct. Generally speaking, he's been able to stay alive long enough to have devastating Sphinx's revelations, but not this time. He's drawing cards. He wants to hit this land drop, and he's going to. Not too bad. Unfortunately, the last breath can't hit anything.
Yeah.
Not this
So
game.
you give him land last breath.
Yeah, give him land last breath. Oh, he's going to let him have both lands.
Sure.
I mean, John Stern's out of cards here, so he can only make 1 rat next turn. Huey's forced to take the lands.
Yeah, but that one rat.
Passes the turn back. Wow, this is just going to be so close here.
Yeah.
Huey just has to get lucky.
Huey goes to 1
He goes
here.
to 1 here, and he just has to rip. He's got
He has 2
7 outs.
opportunities to hit. He can get busy, assuming that nothing attacks Jace. He gets to go look at 4 cards.
Yeah,
To find a Supreme Verdict.
and he's got 7 outs left in the deck to do so.
All right, there's a rat.
There it is.
You attack Jace. 1 attack Jace and 2 attack you.
You do,
Yes.
because you can't kill him this
Yeah.
turn anyway. And
Yep.
taking away 2 cards away is critical. Now, one thing we also have to remember, BDM, is that there is that elixir up there. So that could come into play potentially, though it doesn't look like it will here.
Well,
Huey's drawn a land for the
he
turn.
can block a rat, gain 5, but he's still going to
He's going to take,
he's going to let 3 rats through, which is 12.
which
Yeah,
is 12. It puts him to 10, and then he's still dead. He's got a bunch of dead cards in his hand. Even the Revelation's not good enough at 3 to go up to 8 here. Plays a land and says go. And John just doesn't really have to do much. He can just turn all his guys sideways here and just be like, do something.
Well, if he turns everyone sideways here.
Yeah. And Huey immediately goes to the top of the deck to see.
Two Supreme Verdicts on top of his deck.
Back to back.
Back to back. I think it was
So
2 Supreme
close.
Verdicts right on top of his deck.
You know, Huey just needed
sneer,
yeah,
little sneer of ugh.
he needed
I
one
get
of his
so unlucky.
his beloved divinations
Yeah.
at some point earlier. All right, so we see
Wow.
a nice attack there from John in the sense that he made a pack rat, but then he also made Huey use up his mana on subsequent turns by playing multiple Underworld connections, and that left, thanks to 1 Thoughtseize, enough room there. Because remember, Huey could have killed the pack rats.
Right.
But he felt like the Underworld connections were
But
more
I think
important.
I
agree with him.
For sure, he would have gotten a Supreme Verdict or
Yeah.
another detention.
I mean, when
here.
he played it, I'm like, no, he's going to hit that
Yeah.
Underworld connections. But, you know, there are choices earlier, too. Let's take a look at our feature match area here. John Stern's up a game. That hasn't been updated quite yet, but we know he is up a game. Also, Huey's not 11-2. So
No.
this isn't quite finished yet, yeah. So we'll come back after that thing gets updated.
Yeah, you see, Billy's 11-2 and 1. Picked up a draw earlier on the weekend of the unintentional variety.
Right. Again, what
Yeah.
you signed up for, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's got to be miserable, though. You play blue-white. You're like, I'm getting pretty good with this deck. And then you sit across from Huey, who's playing blue-white, and you're just like, I'm never going to win this.
Needs more Jester's caps.
All right, so sideboard plans have been enacted here. A couple more tweaks there for Huey, but he's up against it. He's playing for top 8. John Stern is not playing for top 8.
Right.
But he is playing for pro points potentially.
National
he's playing
pride.
for money. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying he's playing for nothing. I'm just saying one of these guys can actually still win this entire tournament.
And
The
again,
other
he
one
may
can't.
he may be under some apprehension or interpretation of how things are playing out, because there was some talk that an 11-3 might make top 8.
Okay. Sure.
5, 6, 7, 7 more.
But again, in that chase for platinum over the course of a season, those pro points are every top GP finish you can post.
I know, because you
It's
get
so
to the
crucial.
end, and if
Yeah.
you just get 1 or 2 short, you just think, God, I was a match away or something.
11-3 should be a top 16 here. We're a top, or we're 11-4. I mean, 12-3. We're in 11-4 is, maybe you could fall down out below 32nd.
Yeah, absolutely. John Stern's a gold pro, and I'm sure that he would like to improve on that status by
Yeah.
1 notch if possible.
Lock 1 on the pony.
Of course, William Jensen, a Hall of Famer. Just at Pro Tour Theros in Dublin was his induction ceremony.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
You're starting, I guess.
It's hard to believe we've been doing this for as many years. That, I still remember the first Hall of Fame ceremony pretty vividly.
Do ya?
Yeah. It's just like,
That's awesome.
yeah. It's just kind of weird that it's been going on so long.
Yeah.
3 of them are blocked.
Hall of Fame's gotten big.
Yeah.
1, 2.
Big in many ways, too. Number of people, but it's also just a hotly contested topic every
Yes.
time.
I think as what it means to be in the Hall of Fame has really crystallized in people's minds.
Right.
I mean, you see someone like it's gotten him back on the Pro Tour, back in the Grand Prix circuit. Just
Those kids
Much to the chagrin of his opponents.
Yeah.
This guy wasn't around 2 years ago, and now he just smashes everybody. I mean, Huey's one of the best players around currently.
so 3 C ponies left.
that's been true for whenever he's playing matches. Since we're going to lead with a duress.
Yeah. All right, so Duress is going to see a Supreme Verdict, an Azorius Charm, and a pair of Jaces. So this is going to depend entirely on what John Stern's game plan is. If he's
I'm
pack
gonna
ratting,
guess
we'll
the
see the
verdict.
verdict go away. Taking 1 of 2 Jaces isn't super enticing, but thanks to the new legend rule, it does still put some damage on us. Before it was like, look, you just can't even cast the second one.
Yeah.
Now
No,
it's
what
like,
we've seen
well,
people do is actually, their Jace will be on 1. They'll be like, up my Jace to 2, play my next Jace.
Yeah.
And then draw 2 cards.
I know, I've seen that. It's so sweet. And then there's the old Jace minus minus Jace minus. So you just like draw half your deck in the course of a couple of turns. All right, is this a pack rat?
Or is it a Thoughtseize?
Be a Thoughtseize. It is a Thoughtseize.
He
All
took
right.
1 Jace.
He took 1 Jace, so maybe he's taking the second one.
Sees
He
that a
did
detention
draw.
sphere has joined the team. now.
Right, so that's going to change things. Again, both of Detention Sphere and Supreme Verdict completely destroy the pack rat.
Two
plan.
different rat traps for William Jensen.
Yeah, but both very, very nicely designed rat
Yeah.
traps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like John's in the tank here. I mean, drawing that Detention Sphere could really have changed the way he's approaching this game.
Right, but he's already committed sort of to, like, I'm going to get these Jaces out, but he's got to take the detention sphere
Takes
this
the
time.
sphere, yeah. It must have been a big difference.
So we're going to see
for
the
him.
Azorius Charm get cycled here.
Yep, that draws him a Mutavault. One of the bonuses of only being a 2-color deck is you get to run cards like Mutavault. He's got to play the second island here, though, so he can at least represent a counter here. There's a Mutavault for John Stern, and let's see what he brings to the table here. It's an Underworld Connections on a Swamp, and it's good. Go. An Azorius Guildgate off the top for Huey. He had no play on end step or anything there, no counter spell in hand to take care of Underworld Connections, which he for sure would have used.
Yeah.
So John Stern knows he didn't draw one then. And this is going to be Jace. Yeah. Jace plus. He wants to
send
protect
Jace
him
to
from
5, doesn't
Mutavault.
want to get Mutavaulted to death. Yeah.
It's really lame if you just, do kind of a weird divination and then just have your Jace get eaten by tap 2 lands. Even though I'm sure Huey would like to start getting that going. 3 and downfall is the downside to that, of course, is that Huey essentially gets nothing. It's just a 1-for-1, which when you're talking about planeswalkers, especially blue ones, I mean, if you're in John Stern's seat, you're real happy to pick up a 1-for-1 there. And here's the Mutavault beatdown from Huey Jensen. He has nothing else to do this turn. And draw a card for John Stern, drops him to 15, but you can feel that John is taking control of this game. Huey's not in a good position at all. There's a Nightveil Spectre for John Stern potentially. He's going to draw a card first, though. He's going to need to hit a swamp if he wants to cast it. Mutavault's not going to get it done.
Draws another Nightveil Spectre.
Okay. Now, Huey has managed to hit his land drops, which is going to be really important if he draws a Sphinx's Revelation in a little while, because while John Stern is jockeying nicely for position here, there's no pressure.
Right.
He's not closing the door on Huey anytime soon.
Here comes another Underworld Connections.
Okay.
He's like,
And
come on, detention sphere.
No kidding. It's not a detention sphere. It is a plains. And that's also a plains. And he's going to get in there with Mutavault once again. Play his land and say go. John Stern draws a swamp, but he's going to draw 3 cards this turn.
Yeah, card advantage rivaling the blue-white deck.
Right, and John's down to 11. I mean, the Mutavault combined with the Underworld Connections, but unfortunately,
The Mutavault's like hemming him for 2.
It is, except for
Except it's not.
Yeah, and John's got a he's got a Gray Merchant in hand too for in a little bit.
Yeah. It's a total shocker.
All right, so there's Nightveil Spectre.
Sad to see Paul Dunn trudging off to catch his flight.
Oh, the Agent of the Fates.
Yeah.
Champion. Okay.
All right, we got something.
Supreme Verdict. He's just going to have to take a
Wow.
1-for-1. I mean, he cannot let this card advantage train wreck go any further. And he still gets to hit him with a Mutavault, but now Huey's completely tapped out. So John Stern's going to get to draw a bunch of cards, and I mean, he could just play a Gray Merchant here if he wants, gain 6. And that's 6 cards. I mean, that's what we're dealing with here. Gray Merchant is 6 cards and no more Mutavault attacks. Draw a card.
Yep.
That is a Thoughtseize, so he even gets to kind of clear the way, though. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he's not.
Is he holding a Gray Merchant?
He is, but he's not going to be able to cast it this turn anyway. Thoughtseize reveals 2 planes and drops John Stern down to 5. But he, Huey's deck doesn't have any way to really get a big hit out of damage or anything, so John can really play this as close to the margin as he wants.
And here comes another Nightveil Spectre.
Yep. All right, and he says go. So Sphinx's Revelation. Ooh, that's a Sphinx's Revelation. Wow. I was going to say it would be the ideal draw, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly what just happened. So, John Stern, again, hasn't really come up with a way to put huge pressure on Huey. He's been building up a massive advantage.
John Stern has been in the driver's seat this entire game,
he's
and he is at 4.
destroying.
Billy has done nothing other than attack with a couple of Mutavaults.
Yep, but Huey is going to get 5 here. All right, he gets a land out of the way, too. Tap land, too.
He's like, please just dump your hand onto the board.
And here comes the Gray Merchant for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's half of Huey's life total. 13 to 9 now. Huey's actually at 9. And there it is, Sphinx's Revelation for 5. So this is a huge one. Can Huey find
a detention sphere
multiple
and a Supreme Verdict?
Yeah, he can cast both next turn if he can find them. Back up to 18. I see the sphere. I didn't see the rest. He did hit a sphere, though.
14, 13. Thank you.
Yeah, Huey's now up to 14 after being at 9 and Sphinx's Revelation.
I don't think there's a...
No verdict.
I don't think there's a verdict.
Sphere's really important. Verdict he's going to need sooner than later. It's a lot of lands there. He has a dissolve in his hand as well. Maybe a Jace. Wow, can Huey come back? I mean, John has been really dominating this game.
Like, even if he plays the detention sphere here on Underworld Connections, John gets to draw 2 cards.
He does. I know. You got to wonder if it's too late, but I mean, so far. All right, here it is. Detention sphere. Target's connections. Draw a card in response. It's a land. Draw another one. And it's a hero's downfall. All right, 5 more mana left over for Huey right now. He gets to play a land, and it's a Mutavault, and he just has to say go. So he has to just, basically the real worry here is that Night Veil Spectre at this point. That thing's really annoying for Huey.
Well, and also Erebos would be a little bit of a...
Yeah, he's got to dissolve.
Right.
So, like, he can keep anything really heinous off the board, but he only has the 1 dissolve. And John Stern has 100 cards in his hand, so you got to wonder if that's enough, too. Huey has 2 Mutavaults down there, though. He can double block a Merchant if John wanted to open that door.
This is going to be Erebos.
I think you're right.
This is going to get just...
It is Erebos.
Countered.
He kind of just has to counter it, right? I mean, it's more
Pretty
card
sure.
draw, and it's a huge creature that Supreme Verdict doesn't kill.
And it also shuts off his ability to gain life with Supreme Verdict.
Of course, yeah. He just has to.
And with Elixir.
Indeed. All right, he's
Scry's one.
scrying. This is a huge scry. I mean, we know he wants to see another Sphinx's Revelation more than anything else here, but a Supreme Verdict would be
He
sweet,
wouldn't mind seeing
too.
a Supreme Verdict, yeah. Thinking.
He's deep in the tank here. It could be something like a Divination or something.
He's going to keep it.
You know, a Divination's a card that you can see there and be like, well, what do I got to count up my mana, I play it, I draw this, what happens, that kind of thing. Because he really tanked that out for a while.
Yeah, when you see a player like Billy who's so fast,
yeah,
so fast, think for that long, you know, that's... Okay. He says, oh, well, he had to leave it up there because of the Spectre.
Right. So he was thinking about if the Spectre was going to get hit, and it was, and it's Supreme Verdict.
Second Erebos.
Oh, wow. See, this is where, you know, the tide kind of comes crashing in, where Huey had started to stabilize, but you just had that feeling in the back of your head that it wasn't going to happen because John Stern had so many cards in hand. He draws a negate. And this is exactly what you were talking about before, BD. I mean, this is what you signed up for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is you draw reactive cards after your opponent's already ahead. The deck needs to stay at parity until it can start grinding out with those huge swinging cards, and he isn't able to do that in this game. Huey is scrapping and fighting for his tournament life here, basically. This could be the last round he plays of this tournament, or he could play 3 more. Up to 3 more.
Up to 3 more, yeah.
Right. You know he wants to get back in that final seat. He narrowly lost in Dallas in the finals.
Is this a Gray Merchant of Asphodel?
It is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's going to drop Huey down to 2. And John Stern's at 1,000 life. So that, I mean,
you just said
he doesn't know it,
Erebos
but
and the Spectre.
yeah, might as well send the Merchant in there too.
Yeah. Oh,
Erebos is fresh.
Yeah.
Nope, and that's it. John Stern's our victor. He extends the hand. He wins 2-0 over Huey Jensen on that critical bubble match down the stretch. Tough one for Huey there.
Hoping somehow he gets, you know, that maybe he could sneak into 8th. We don't think he can.
Okay. Okay, so let's take a look here. Well, As we can see, John Stern has improved to 12-3. That will be his final Swiss record here. We're assuming it's not good enough for top 8.
Right.
But there's always that shaky ground where an X&3 could potentially make it.
But Colin Miller and Peter Sundholm probably just shake hands at this point.
Okay.
If they're within any kind of line of sight, which they are because they're on this. They're at the next table. They probably look over and they go, shake hands.
Okay.
Right. That's them back there.
You see him looking over there. Who won? So are the judges not allowed to tell them?
Well, they can ask who won.
Yeah, she said, I cannot provide you that information.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just think she didn't. Yeah, she
Yeah.
just didn't.
They just asked the wrong person. Don't ask the judge. Ask Billy.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair. She doesn't want to get involved in any potentially tournament deciding decisions for the players.
Sure, sure.
If I judged, I would be the same. All right, so we're getting our stuff updated here, but we don't see any hands extending here, BDM.
No, is this...
This is Colin. That's Colin on the left, Colin Miller. His opponent is Peter Sundholm.
I don't have his deck lists here. Okay.
Oh, we don't have his list over here? Okay.
Yeah, we already saw Colin Miller's list.
Yeah,
Peter Sundholm, and honestly, we know Peter Sundholm's list. Let's be frank.
Yeah, let's just be honest here.
Draws a Tidebinder Mage, it looks like.
All right, so it looks like Peter's up a game here.
But up against it.
And Colin's
He's
stuck once again fighting the fight of these mono blue. But it looks like a couple of triple chain to the rocks are sitting down there. So he's done some work this game. And is he going to fire off a last breath here? He is.
Right. Let his things untap. And so he can just kill this Cloudfin Raptor with a Lightning Strike. Or just attack.
He can just
with
attack.
both and kill his opponent with the Lightning Strike.
That's right.
It's really how he feels.
Mm-hmm. His opponent's on 2 cards and 2 mana, so there's
his
a few
opponent gained
things.
some life here off of the last breath that might not be accounted for yet.
Yeah, there's no way he was at 1. So
yeah, there we go. He's
back
at 9. All right,
So
yeah,
like
we'll
you
clear
said,
that.
Lightning Strike, hit you. Yeah, can we? There we go. Hit you for 5. Colin Miller's at 18, looking pretty comfortable in game 2 here. He's got lethal on the table, facing an inactive Thassa and the most inactive possible Thassa. So it's going to take a heck of a turnaround here to get Peter Sundholm out of this mess.
Right, even turning it on is not as, that looks like domestication.
It still doesn't do what he needs it to do. It does buy him a turn potentially, but there's still a lot of outs here
Gets
for
him a little
Colin.
closer to turning this on.
Yeah. Interestingly, he takes the lizard, which unfortunately allows that thing to hit him even if he survives this turn. So he's going to need a flyer now too. Assuming Colin Miller's actually at 18, I mean there's no race to be had here.
Pushes a card that does not do what he needs it to do.
Yeah, he said I don't need another Thassa. All right, so he actually has another flyer in hand.
Oh, and he also has another domestication.
He does.
So he actually domestication's really sweet here.
Yeah, it is. It's better than the flyer also because even if the domestication, basically it just means that he cannot get attacked next turn.
Yeah. Chooses only to attack with Thassa, not with the Frog Ape.
What is he playing around there? What hasty ground creatures are there that he's worried about?
I mean, you can't be worried about Storm Breath Dragon.
No, I think he's got a battle with that thing there. On the ground?
Gets his opponent to 8, and his opponent's dead next turn.
Right. Or you put him to 10, and then dead next turn.
No, so he put him to 10.
Yeah, but still lethal. He's got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 right there. So that could have been a huge mistake. Maybe there's a Mutavault hiding that we can't see. That would have been a great reason to leave it back. There's some glare that's working. Let's just assume there's a Mutavault somewhere around there because that would make a lot of sense. So a second Thassa in hand for Peter, and there's his own Mutavault. And he's going to play his Night Veil Spectre.
An insurance policy.
That's right. They do this pre-combat so that if something were to die in combat, the Thassa still remains active. And in they come. And he's going to 10 him here. All right. There's a... You see him praying.
No war leaders here, Lex.
I'm sorry, I can't. No, I would love to. Now you bolt me here.
What did he just draw?
So I think the Colin just asked for a draw, and Peter said no.
Yeah, I mean,
you got one, I got one. Show me the win.
So Peter just said, show me the win. So do you see what's happening here? So Colin's...
he's like, if you can win this game, we can draw, but...
Yeah, but Peter's saying, look, why I'm up a game. Like,
Yeah.
I have the win on the table. You have to show me a win here.
I mean, the win's valuable for Peter. I mean,
It
puts
is.
Him, it puts him into like this. He'll go into the top half of the bracket.
Like-
He'll have the opportunity to play first. He might be the top seed.
Right.
Everyone else shook hands.
Yeah.
Wish I could because I didn't.
It's crazy for him to take the draw.
He
here.
just said he wishes he could. He didn't even want to play this, but I mean, look at the situation he's in. So players are discussing this right
Yeah,
now,
no,
but
there's-
it's just a lot to ask. I mean, it's awkward because I think if it was at the beginning of the match, you would have gladly shook a hand, but now
They
he's
couldn't
got
afford to.
lethal.
They agreed they couldn't afford to at the beginning.
Right.
So math told me that I didn't because that's what the judge told me the math says.
No, I know, but now
They're talking over it.
Wow. Top seed is a very powerful position to be in.
He has declined.
You get to be on the play every single match.
To end this conversation.
All right, so the judge has ended the conversation.
Okay.
She said, look, you asked for a draw. He declined it. We got to play Magic now. So young Pyromancer.
He's going to last breath his own young Pyromancer mid-combat.
Yes.
Go to 7, get a token.
And hope to rip here. He can block, especially if Peter gets... The thing is... Well, let's see. Oh, this is going to be a domestication.
No, Master.
Oh, no, it's a
wins.
Master. Which shouldn't matter here, right? All right, well, he tapped so that he can't make anything unblockable here.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, so you get infinite guys. That's fine.
Congratulations.
Because this is the question of this is burn spell. But the problem is now that's over because now Peter's sitting at 6. So,
Yeah, I think you. I guess.
I mean, does he leave back a flyer? That doesn't do anything either. Yeah,
don't think it matters.
this just doesn't end well for Colin. I mean, even a Stormbreath Dragon doesn't do it here.
That's the only part I didn't want to do at all. Alright, it's fine. Lily will not have minded a packer.
All right, block. And it looks like Peter's going to play Dream Crusher here sort of inadvertently. You know, this is just how the game panned out for him. I mean, it's a tough thing to ask him to be up a game with lethal and be like,
he's
hey,
drawn
would
an
you like
Anger
to-
of the Gods, but
Anger of the Gods will not kill Master. So he needs a Mutavault. And that top card that is all glare has to be Mutavault.
I can't risk him. I'm terribly sorry. I would have drawn in a heartbeat if the math said drawing. Pretty good. So, wrap one.
All right, so Colin asked again if he would draw, but Peter said he can't.
and that's
I mean, he might actually be under the impression that he mathematically isn't favored to. You know, like that if he draws, he's risking his top 8 here
Sure.
too. I mean, it's like you said before, it's not always clear. I mean, this stuff is hard to figure out on the fly, and you don't get to sit there and stare at that sheet while
Correct.
you're playing. Like their buddy might be like, dude, you got to play. Okay, and that's the last thing he heard. Should be game right here, though. Colin Miller's at 1, and he's facing 2 lethal attackers here. A couple of lands in hand.
yep.
So Colin's, he's frustrated, I think, because he's explaining that they can get in. But I mean, it's tough because when you're sitting on the other side of the table,
There's a
What
lot
are
of
you supposed to
there's a
do?
lot of blue decks in the top 8, and if being on the play matters, and I assume it does,
Yeah.
being able to do that at every
I
every
agree.
match,
I agree.
game 1 is just tremendous.
and that's what that rule's for.
Yeah.
So,
So we're going to see another blue versus black matchup here.
Yeah, this is Christian Calcano.
playing
on the
against
left-hand
KYT.
side. And he's
Car
playing
Young
against
Tom.
Car Young Tom. That's right.
100% sorry. In a heartbeat, if I was not bought.
Domestication is targeting. Domestication can target the demon. I mean, it gets sacrificed at the end of the turn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so but it doesn't matter. He's just gonna.
He can sack it to the other demon.
Yeah.
Sack it to itself. Sack it to tap the other demon to get in for another hit here. Yeah, and it's like what you said, BDM. It doesn't go away till the end of the turn,
Yeah.
so you have it there.
But couldn't he? I think he could have attacked with. Oh, the life totals weren't updated. I thought he was at 6. I was like, he could also have just attacked with Thassa there and killed him. Just take the demon and.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm not doing this out of maliciousness. I'm telling you. Trust me, I wanted to do nothing else but to draw and put this up. And by the way, I mean, we set the game 3.
All right, Lifebane Zombie into the red zone. And there's another Lifebane Zombie that's going to reveal a Thassa and a lowly Cloudfin Raptor. And it looks like Car Young Tom is about to take victory here.
Push.
I mean, is there anything left here? No, it's another Thassa. And there's another Thassa. And that's going to do it. KYT is victorious. It doesn't look like it's going to be quite enough for a top 8 this time, but a really solid finish from KYT.
Yeah,
so good for him.
You know, almost certainly a top 16 finish.
Mm-hmm.
Good
He
job.
runs the Mana Deprived website.
Yeah.
He also is involved with team face-to-face games.
He's really been the. He's also been just really the part of pushing Canadian